Hey listeners, it's Toby, your host of this Nigerian Life podcast. I'm taking a little detour from my solo thoughts to bring you a special series that I call What Makes You Tick. I recorded these conversations in the summer of 2025 simply to understand the people in my life a bit more deeply and to explore what kind of stories we had around us. And what I discovered is that there are remarkable stories all around. We just have to be curious enough to notice them. And so, in honor of these women and in honor of Women's History Month this March, I'm sharing some of these stories with you. The stories of womanhood in different forms. We have Simile Olua, who speaks about motherhood, new age Nigerian grandparents, and the village that we were promised. We have Dija, who speaks about being a Muslim woman in technology, growing up in a supportive family that nurtured her curiosity and love for science. And we have Rose on healing her mind and body with exercise and why women, especially in midlife, should be lifting weights. And there's Lala, who speaks about raising smart children in a digital age and navigating dating as a single mom. Thank you to these incredible women for trusting me with their stories. I hope as you listen, you find yourself reflecting on your own experiences and what makes you tick. And now for today's episode. Hello, Lanre. It's nice to have you here. Thank you for your time. How are you feeling today?
I feel great. I feel great. Thanks for inviting me on your podcast.
Oh, appreciate it. I'm going to start by asking you what is giving you joy these days?
These days, there isn't a lot that's giving joy, to be honest. First of all, we're Nigerians, so we're all going through the same stuff, the traffic, the inflation, the everything. So there's not much giving joy. But I would say that my kids are giving me joy. My daughter recently started secondary school, and my son got admission into Yaba Tech. So yes, that gives me joy.
Wonderful. Congratulations to your son.
Thank you. Thank you.
How does that make you feel seeing your babies growing up like this?
I just love the fact that they're doing well and very soon they'll be independent. My goal is to make them useful to themselves, useful to society. I don't want them, being a nuisance to others. I want them to add value. That's our chief goal for our children to do better than us. Like they have to do better than me. They definitely have to do better than their mom.
I know that your kids are around I think they are before within the Gen Z age bracket. And there's been a lot of talk about how Gen Z do things differently. Parenting them is different. What are some of the things you've had to quickly learn, to do differently from when they were really young to them becoming young adults now?
Okay. So my daughter is actually Gen Alpha. My son, I call him Gen Z, but he's always like, stop Shebe. He says he does not identify as Gen Z, that he doesn't know what those people are doing. But he himself is not Gen Z. We're at this space, this funny space where there's actually a generation saying that, hell no, we're not Gen Z. We don't know what those admirers are doing. And we are, the millennials, like just sipping that tea, like, it's your turn now.
Oh dear. So how is it raising a boy and a girl? I'm sure your parenting style will be the same for both of them, but there'll be some nuances to what you do for the boy versus the girl. Can you tell me about that?
Okay, so I try to keep it the same. I always told myself I won't treat them different. You know how some parents would treat the boy different and the girl different? Like most of the chores would go to the girl. The boy wouldn't be allowed in the kitchen and things like that. So they both do the dishes, they both cook, things like that. But at the same time, there's still some things that you would have to do a little differently. Like, for instance, now I had the sex talk with my son when he was 13.
Ooh, how was that?
It was actually quite easy. I was nervous about it, but it was actually quite easy. It went very well. All I did was I just started by asking him questions. Do you know what this is? Do you know what that is? And he knew most of the stuff. For instance, I would ask him, do you know what sex is? Do you know how sex happens? Do you know what pregnancy is? Do you know what homosexuality is? Do you know consent? All these questions he understood even the consent part, consent and rape. I was like, oh. So we got to talking about safe sex. And by this time, it was no longer like a question and answer thing. It was now a conversation. So I was now talking about safe sex. And then he goes, what's a condom?
Mm.
I was like, whoa, you know what consent is? You know what rape is? What it takes to have sex, but you don't know what a condom is? So I had to now start explaining what a condom was to him and stuff like that. And we talked beyond that. I even told them about the Jezebels, girls who act like they want it and then not. So I told him once a girl is giving you any form of signal that she like, I've changed my mind or I don't want walk out, put your clothes back on. He was 13. But I explained it to him. I said, just walk out, leave. Or if it is your house, send her home.
That's a very important skill or message to instill in boys, because even as adults at our age, I still hear stories of adult women who don't feel comfortable to say no. And even when they do, the men with them don't don't listen. They take it as no, she's not being serious. They take it as a sign that they should work harder.
Exactly. For some men, they think no means maybe. Do you get it? That's why I taught him. My daughter and she had hers at 11. Hers was a little earlier because at the end of the day, you just goes with what feels right for you and your child. I try to keep it as, similar as possible. The same brush for him is what I use for her. Because children notice nuances and you don't want your child thinking, mom loves my brother more than me,
Yeah.
or she treats him differently, or she's nicer to her. I try not to do that. Because even growing up, I had this feeling that I grew up thinking that my mom loved some of my siblings more than she loved me. And I don't want my children to ever feel that way.
That's a tough feeling to have. Do you have any fond memories of being a kid that you'd like to share?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I was such a tomboy.
And
I
I
would,
can actually see that.
I swear to God, I had short hair till I was 17 or 18. And till I was like 10, I used to play shirtless football. Because you know how you can either be on the team that is wearing shirts or the team that is not wearing shirts. So if I was on the shirtless one, I'll take off my shirt and play football with the boys. And I was, built like a boy. So some of them didn't even know I was a girl.
Oh my God.
One day, my mom had gone to her shop. And usually when she comes, there's a way she presses her horn in a unique way. Pam, pam, pam. So we know she's back. But this time, I think she just came a little early that day, but she parked outside. So she walks into the compound. She hears us playing football. She walks over there and then she sees me running, tackling a boy. And she just screamed, Larry. As soon as I hear her voice, I'm like, I'm so dead. I'm so dead. Almost she beats Shaggy out of my body that day. That was the last time I played shirtless football. We had a mango tree and we used to climb that tree all the way to the top. I swear it's God that kept us alive. Oh. The things we did,
See.
we would arrange blocks, put a plank on it, and then take our bicycles, go down the compound, now speed, now ride off that plank and go as high as possible. Oh my God, I was an adrenaline junkie then. I actually wanted to go to was it Commando Army Jos, the one in Jos, because they got to wear the military uniforms and everything. And I thought that was sick. When I told my mom was like, you to where? Lady, you're not going anywhere. Oh. Carry your bomb to Vivian Fowler.
Vivian Fowler is a school for all girls, and you being a tomboy, I know it's not easy when a girl is different from the other girls. What was that
Oh
like
my
for you?
God. I was an outlier. To be honest, that was not a very fun time for me. I always felt like I was on the outside looking in. I knew everyone knew me, but God, those girls could be mean. Some of them, I made some good friendships there, but girls can be mean. And here's the thing, they don't think they're being mean, they think they're being funny. Relax, it's not that deep. On my last day of school, it was my final paper. It was literature in English, SS3. And remember, I told you I had short hair
Yeah.
throughout, and I had just relaxed my hair for the first time in years. but I wasn't confident about it. So I'd gone to buy one of those 10 kobo wigs. Remember those wigs that came with the headband? That was a bob. You remember those? So I had that on and I thought I looked really nice. Some of my friends complimented me. And then one girl just yanks it off my head and then they start passing it to each other. I'm trying to like give it back, give it back. And one passes it to another person and then it falls on the floor, except the floor is wet and it's a little dirty. So the wig gets wet and there's mud and everything on it. And I just pick it and I storm off and they're laughing. Sorry now, sorry now. I go upstairs, I'm crying. I clean it up. And then I'm like, I should do something. But I'm like, they'll expel me or suspend me. But then, you know, that little voice, you know, when the devil wants you to do something bad,
Yes.
little voice goes, oh, wait, so today is your final day. Where are they expelling you to? Into university or what? There's nothing they can do to you anymore. And I was like, oh, yeah. So I give my bags to my friend. I said, I'll be right back. She's like, where are you going? Where are you going? I said, don't worry. And I go downstairs and I see her. She's talking to some girls. She's backing me. That's how one of them goes, Larry's coming, Larry's coming. And she turns and says, and so I just pop her in the mouth. Pooh! And I'm a lefty. And I'm a left that he connected. Just popped her one in the mouth. And then I just start bodying her. Poke, poke, poke. And she's on the ground and people are pulling me off. And I'm like, nah, I'm going to kill this girl today. So what happened was that all the vex, all the anxiety,
Top
them,
yeah.
of anger that I had over my 6 years in that school, I just let it all out on her.
It's poetic because it's
And
your last day and you really didn't have anything to lose.
exactly. But do you know how bad it was? That first punch, it was so bad. Her tooth cracked. Well, broke actually. And then it even cuts. I still have the scar on my finger.
So
I
what
think,
happened after the altercation?
yeah, I went to get cleaned up. There was little blood on my uniform and everything. She didn't touch me once, by the way. She was surprised. Next thing was, security guard came to call me, said Mrs. Fowler wanted to see me. I was like, oh crap. This is when they're going to try and expel me, right? But I was still scared though. I got there. They had sent for her. So she got there before me. That's when I saw her face. And they just said, when is your last paper? I was like, it's going to start in like 30 minutes. And she said, you don't have any other paper other than that? And I was like, no other paper. And she's like, I don't want to see you again.
Yeah.
You hear me? Until graduation, I don't want to see you again. You hear? I said, yes, ma, yes, ma. And that was that. They didn't call my mom. There was no escalation. That was the end of that.
How did you feel after that incident? Going back home, knowing that your mom didn't know what happened. How did you feel? And how did you get over the shock of you reacting that way?
Honestly, I felt high. I felt good. I felt like a load had been taken off. It was like I'd let out all my pent up anger. Everything was released and I felt good. But there was also that, flex because everyone was like, oh my God, strong, baddest. You know that, how girls would be. And of course, our friends were rallying around her, but I just wish I'd done it sooner because maybe I'd gotten a lot less shit during my time.
You think?
Yeah, I think you have to have something. You have to be super confident or not care at all or be someone that people are afraid of.
How have you applied that to your adult life, Phil? Being a single mom, you get looked down on sometimes and it can make you feel some type of way. How do you navigate being a
Babe,
single mom?
if you know the things that people have said straight to my face, not that someone tell me someone said behind my back, that they would say straight to my face. My goal now is to make sure that my kids don't have to go through that.
Okay, tell me about your work life. What did you study in university? You know how we all start our lives in university. We pass jam, we get admission. Sometimes we don't get to the school that we want to, but we make do with what we have. If you were going to study law, maybe your results weren't great enough and then they give you English or mass communication or something else. But you make do with what you have and then figure out your life from there.
I tried to get into Unilag. I wanted to study mass communication because from, I think, GS3, I wanted to be on TV. I wanted to be a newscaster.
Interesting.
Yes. From like 13, I knew I wanted to be a newscaster. So I would practice. I would watch these 7 o'clock news on NTA and listen to how they spoke. And I would practice how they spoke. It has influenced the way I speak now. All that practicing. Even the commercials, I would listen, I would cram them and try and speak that way. I mean, that time, the commercials, they spoke good English. Not today that everything is in pidgin. I tried to get into Unilag to study mass communication. That didn't pan out. So I went to UI, studied adult education. My minor is in English language.
Okay, switching gears up a bit. Tell me about your dating life. I know you're a single mom and you're in your 40s. We talk about how dating has become such an extreme sport right now. But you now have the extra layer of being 40, as in being in your 40s, being a single mom on top of that too.
Oh my God.
Are you dating?
No, I'm not interested in that anymore. When I was in my 20s, I told myself I'll never have kids, I'll never get married. And then, boom, I get pregnant. And I'm like, okay, let's run this. And then when I was in my 30s, I got engaged to my daughter's father. But that didn't work out at the end of the day. And immediately that happened, the switch just went off. There's this compulsive need that is ingrained in women. And if it is not ingrained in you, people start harassing you. When are you getting married? Your cousin just got married. Your neighbor just got married. Even the dog don't born picking for house. What is your own? What are you doing with your life? This, that. The pressure is insane. If you're not married, are you really a woman? Are you complete? Have you achieved all you can? There are some people that this woman, no work, no value add, but she has a husband. She's all right.
She's all right.
You understand?
Yeah.
And then you have your job, you have people that depend on you, you're paying salaries, and some like, why you never marry now? And they just make everything seem small. If you find your forever person, marry that person. By all means, I love, you know, good marriages. But some people get married for the sake of being married, and the divorce rate is insane. Everyone's just getting divorced. I met a 24-year-old a couple of years ago, and she was already divorced. I was like, how did you do that? What happened? First of all, getting married before, you're 24 and jumping out of it already, that's insane. Do you remember this thing we used to do when we were young? Like, a guy will ask you out and you'd be like, no, I see you as my friends.
Yes, the original friend zone.
The original friend zoning. I see you as a friend. Guy, do you know that's how a lot of girls lost their husbands? Because right now, what I tell younger girls now is that marry your paddy, marry your guy. Because even if the desire fades, there's still that, or the love even ebbs, there's still that mutual respect and care for each other. If there is that foundation of friendship, a marriage can survive even infidelity.
Ooh. Do we want to talk about infidelity?
No, let's not. That's a whole bucket of mackerel that we don't want to get into, right?
If we start that topic, we're not gonna end. We're not gonna end. Are you still using the app?
I started with Tinder, but then I noticed something about Tinder. The quality of people on Tinder was very poor. The reason I stopped using that app was when I started seeing my welder and the guy that sells bread
No.
2 streets down. And I was like, oh shit, if I'm seeing them, that means they're seeing me. I was like, nah. And then someone told me about Bumble, that I should totally try Bumble, that, quality people there. And I tried Pop Bumble, and that thing actually makes sense. I met some quality people. And here's the thing about Bumble. The people who reach out to you, it's my real age on there. Because I don't have time to waste time, I actually had a subscription. So rather than swiping on people, I just go to who has already swiped me.
Yes.
And when I get there, guess what I'm saying? 21-year-olds, 23-year-olds, 29-year-olds. And I'm like, what are these children looking for with their auntie? There was one time it was an 18-year-old girl swiping on me. I'm like, auntie,
18.
I'm telling you. And that is what is happening now. The guys that step to me these days, are 15 years younger, 20 years younger, and they're so confident. First of all, I'm flattered. Because, sometimes as you get older, you get a little insecure. Some things are not where they're supposed to be anymore. A lot of younger men are stepping to older women. And what the common denominator is that she's more matured, she's got her own money, so she's not going to be stressing me for money for bone straight. Do you get? You get now.
Yeah.
If I do it right, she might even buy me my PS5.
Yes. It's funny you say that because recently I had a conversation with another friend who is in her 40s, who is also experiencing her cougar era differently. They are getting younger and younger coming after her. And she's like, what exactly is going on? What are you people looking for? It's very flattering, to be honest. But how much younger are you willing to go to date a man? Have you dated a younger man before?
Yes, I have.
Oh, what was the experience like? What did you enjoy about being with a younger man? What are some of the benefits?
Some of the benefits of being with the younger guy is reminiscent. I love to talk. He was very attentive. It was like story time type of thing. He was a good listener and he was very tall. And the funny thing is that we pretty much looked like we're mates because I'm very small. I'm 5'1". So it was fine, but it wasn't fine. Like, maybe I shouldn't be doing this.
Obviously, he didn't have a problem being with an older woman.
Oh, hell no.
Apart from his age now, what could have made your experience better? Because we always get hung up about the age and all, and I'm learning that age really doesn't matter as long as there are fundamental values that they have and they can meet you halfway. What would you be willing to do if they had?
Well, I'm not sure I understand the question per se.
I mean, you kept feeling somehow about it and saying, I shouldn't be doing this. But that guilt comes from the societal expectations that a woman should be with someone who's her age or older because of the way people react to women dating younger men. So, my question is, were there things that he could have had that would have made him a more viable partner beyond him just being younger than you and, oh, this looks weird, this feels somehow? What were some of the things that could have made him better? That we would be saying now that, oh, Larry's boo is younger than her and you're fine with it because you're getting what you need.
This is Nigeria. Today's a younger man and you want to date that person publicly. The only solution is he would have to have fuck you money. Like, what's your business? Take this money and shut your mouth kind of thing. Once you have money, you can get away with a lot of. So don't you see all these 70-year-old men marrying 25-year-olds?
Yeah.
Do you see a 70-year-old poor man marrying a 25-year-old girl?
It's weird that when the person doesn't have money, when the person has money, we excuse a lot of things. Like, at least he has money now. Should we take care of her? At least he has money.
Thank you. I had a guy lie to me once. He lied about his age. This was a couple of years ago. I was about 42 at the time. And we met at a rave. And he told me he was 35. And during the course of the night, he had his wallet open and I saw his driver's license. Uncle was 25. What does it say when you're 25 and you say you're 35 and you can get away with it? I don't know if that's a good look or a bad look. Because he could have gotten away with it.
It means he presents as someone who is mature. So he probably looks like he's in his 30s or the way he carries himself. He doesn't have those quirkiness of youth. So he might be able to get away with it.
Why did you feel the need to lie? First, it goes, it's a fake license. He needed it to do something, whether to apply for something or whatever. And I was like, but you're lying.
Mhm.
And then he was like, okay, you got me. Yes, that's is my real age. And I was like, so why lie? He felt a little insecure when I mentioned that because the reason why we even knew each other's ages was there were other people on the table. And I mentioned that my son at the time was writing SSE. And he was like, oh, you have a kid in secondary school? I was like, yeah. And he goes, how old are you? And I tell him, and he's like, oh, snap, you don't even look it. I was like, oh, cool. So how old are you? Because you know that quid pro quo, you know mine. So what's yours? And he goes, 35. I was like, okay, cool. Because he felt if he had said his real age, I might have stopped talking to him, is what he thought.
Yeah, I see that. What would be your ideal partner?
He would have to have oodles of patience. And he would have to be someone that is understanding. Throughout this talk, do you know I've never mentioned the fact that I have ADD?
Oh no, what's ADD? How are you managing that?
Attention deficit disorder. I am not managing at all. What I just do is that I have workarounds, I have buffers. And most of the time, money is the buffer. I know I'm going to forget to do something. So I always have Vex money to take care of it. For instance, now, I always miss the staff bus in the morning. So I know that I'm going to have to Uber my way to work every morning. It's like the ADD tax. Anybody that has this same thing knows what I'm talking about. You go to the laundromat, you have your soap, detergent next to the laundry bag. But when you get to the laundromat, remember that you forgot to take it from the table. You've left it at home. So now you have to buy another one out there. I forget people. I forget where I keep things. For instance, now, if you, Toby, don't call me,
Mhm.
I will literally forget you exist.
Oh God, no.
I love you. But unless you post WhatsApp stories regularly, it's like a switch just goes and Toby has disappeared from my memory.
Yike.
It happens to everyone. I have a brother in the UK. He is the 5 to my 6. When he was still in Nigeria, we used to talk multiple times a day. And now I literally have to remind myself to call him and I still forget. That's why there's a special place in my heart from friends that when they call, they just be like, oh, I hadn't heard from you in a while. I just wanted to check on you. As opposed to, if we don't call you, you can't call me, Abby. Now what for you? Since all these days, I hate people like that. To the point that when you call me, I'm not going to pick up because, oh my God, she's going to start with the type thing. So I just stop taking your calls. But if I know that when I pick your call, you're going to be chill about it. In fact, I will be the one to report. Allow me to report myself. Allow me to do, oh my God, I should have called you since all these days. How are you? How have you been? My bad. I'd rather do that than you come and attack me.
There's something you call the razification of Nigerian music. I'm curious to know what you mean by that.
Okay, back in the day, people actually cared about lyrics. People cared about the message that they were sending out. And then if your message was trash, people would call you out on it. Remember Idris?
Yeah, Abdul Karim.
I- Yes, exactly. When he was doing that wiggity wiggity and yanning dust, people called him out on it that what kind of dust are you yanning? People would take their time and actually write bars. I'm talking about Al Mood 9. I'm talking about MI. I'm talking about LD. I'm talking about Sasha P. Banky W. Look at their lyrics now. You could hear what they were saying. You could vibe with what they were saying. But these days, though, it's um, Bentleys that they don't drive. Big Nash. If she no suck, if she no fuck, who go buy her wig and her handbag? When I go out and the DJ is playing some new Niger hit and it kills the music and everybody starts singing the lyrics. I'm like, how do you guys know these songs? How do you know these lyrics? How do you hear what they are saying? Honestly, Nigerian music makes me feel very old.
Is that recent Nigerian music now? Oxlades and all the boys. They're like three boys.
And honestly, I feel like they are using a copy and paste template,
Mm.
especially for the guys. It's like a copy and paste template. They'll just find one beat, just switch it up, change the lyrics. No, I couldn't tell them apart, but I definitely know who Oxlade is now. I saw the videos. How does one guy have so many videos?
You know, these people love notoriety, makes them popular. These mistakes that they make, quote unquote, I don't trust it.
Let me tell you something. It is not that. The truth is very simple. He has a big bowler.
There's that too, yeah.
And guys that have big bowlers are quick to show you
They
that
love to let you know, yes.
because they feel that you knowing that they have a big bowler will get you to smash faster.
Bola means dick for anybody who yet one guy.
Yes.
Okay.
You know,
So you're still for the old era, the LDs, the Bankies, and even further, what about them? Plantation Boys, Style Plus.
Plantation Boys, they came for a concert in UI. It was actually Tony Taylor's concert. He done a couple of songs. You don't hit my car, Oyinbo Rekpete.
Yeah.
And then he was going off stage for a minute and he was like, so I want you to give a round of applause to my junior brothers. They're going to come on stage now. Show them the same love that you showed me. It was just a lukewarm applause. Even me, I was like, it's you we came to see. Which one would be these people that you're bringing? And then they came on stage. You know that old school walking in sync
Yes.
while bopping shoulders thing with the mics, three of them. And all of us like, as in a cappella. Oh. No background sound, nothing. They were actually singing.
Do you remember how you felt when Plantation Boys broke up and Two Face went solo?
I thought Two Face was being selfish. And then when he now came out with his own album, they plastered his posters all over campus.
Yes.
And he was bald. And I was thinking to myself, I saw the poster, I was like, see this big head. Nonsense. Now came and scatter the good thing. Why?
But in music, though, his music.
When I heard his music, I was like, I forgive you. I forgive you.
I know you said it that you're not really feeling these new guys. What about the ladies?
I'm not. But the girls,
Yeah.
I am feeling the girls.
Yeah. I've always been a fan of Tiwa from our early days.
Well, I didn't really like Tiwa before. I like the new Tiwa. I think she was following in templates before. But now, I absolutely love her. Mama, I love what she's doing. I love her music. I love how she carries herself now.
Yes.
And I could tell something's with, and I'm here for it.
Okay. Anything else that is making you excited these days? What are you looking forward to?
I'm looking forward to retirement.
Oh.
I'm looking forward to not having to work anymore. I'm looking forward to waking up at 10 a.m., walking out of my bedroom and putting my feet in sand. I'm looking forward to more accolades, as in more accomplishments from my kids. Like, I just finished university. I just got my first job. I just, furnished my first apartment. That kind of thing. Mom, I think she's the one.
Yes. It's such a wonderful thought. Thinking about how big your children are going to be soon and having to deal with them as adults, full human beings that don't really need you
I'm
anymore.
afraid sometimes that some of my bad habits will rub off on them because kids don't do as you say, they do as you do.
Yes.
Sometimes, yes, I say the right things, but sometimes I don't always do the right things. I always have this big fear that they would pick up on this and carry those habits. Like, I've managed to finish it in my life, but I wouldn't want my children to have to experience that. So it's a big fear of mine. I work at it, but I'm only human.
You keep trying. Okay, Larry, this has been fun. I'm going to ask you to complete this sentence, okay?
Yes.
A wise person once said,
Don't sweat the small stuff. Do what you can. Do it well. Do it often.
those are words that we should live by all the time. I have enjoyed catching up with you. Thanks again for your time. And yeah,